Almost every magazine says turmeric, cinnamon, and pepper are miracle spices for aging. But new research says, not so fast. When you're over 60, your body reacts to certain common spices in ways that can quietly inflame your joints, gut, and even your brain. And it's not just about what's in the spice, but what's added to it. Today, we're revealing the 5 surprising culprits, the real science behind the inflammation epidemic, and the single kitchen test you can do tonight to protect yourself. Hi, I'm Susan Miller. Welcome back to Senior Health Stories, the show where we cut through the hype and talk about what actually keeps us strong, sharp, and independent as we age. If you're like me, you grew up believing spices were the good guys, the healthy touch in every stew or bowl of oatmeal. I still remember my mother waving cinnamon over her morning coffee, swearing it kept her joints limber. But last week, my daughter sent me an article from a health journal. It was titled, "When Your Favorite Spices Are Quietly Harming You." At first, I just rolled my eyes. Cinnamon? Turmeric? The miracle spices? But that article cited some serious science. So I called the one person who always tells me the truth, even when it's not what I want to hear, Dr. David Harper. Dr. Harper, before we start, please just tell me, is it really possible that something as simple as cinnamon or pepper could be making us sick, even if we've used them all our lives?
Susan, I hear this question every week, and your reaction is perfectly normal. For decades, we believed these spices were only helpful. But we've learned a lot in the last 5 years, especially about how aging bodies react differently. A massive study by Boston University in 2023 looked at nearly 3,000 adults over 60. It found that while spices like turmeric and cinnamon can have anti-inflammatory effects in controlled doses, certain contaminants and even natural compounds can trigger immune overreactions in older adults, especially those with chronic health issues.
So it's not just the spice, it's, what, hidden extras, stuff they're not putting on the label?
Exactly. The issue isn't just with the spice itself, though some people are more sensitive to the natural compounds as they age. The real danger comes from what's added to these spices: chemical dyes, anti-caking agents, and, yes, heavy metals like lead and cadmium. A 2024 FDA spot check found that over 30% of turmeric samples from major grocery chains contained lead levels above what's considered safe, especially for seniors with slower kidney and liver function.
That's so unsettling. You know, my friend Sharon's arthritis flared up after she started a new joint health spice mix she bought online. She thought she was doing everything right. Are we all at risk, or just people with health problems?
Seniors are especially at risk, Susan. Here's why. As we get older, our gut lining gets thinner and our immune response changes. A 2022 Mayo Clinic review found that even natural compounds like the curcumin in turmeric or coumarin in cinnamon can sometimes cause gut inflammation, especially if mixed with certain additives or consumed in higher doses. And if you already have arthritis, diabetes, or mild kidney trouble, these low-level toxins can build up, making you more sensitive to pain and fatigue.
So it's like a double whammy. First, your body gets weaker, then the things you thought were helping you could actually be quietly making it worse.
That's right. And most people don't connect their symptoms back to the kitchen. We think, oh, I'm getting older, my joints just ache. But in reality, for many, chronic inflammation is being stoked by daily exposure to these miracle spices, especially when they're not pure.
You said 5 surprising culprits, Dr. Harper. I'm honestly staring at my spice shelf right now, wondering which ones to toss. Can you give us a sneak peek? What's one spice people would never expect to cause problems?
Absolutely, and I'll reveal the full list as we go. But let's start with cinnamon. Most people think cinnamon is safe, but about 90% of cinnamon sold in stores is actually cassia, not true Ceylon cinnamon. Cassia contains high levels of coumarin, which can damage the liver, especially in seniors. A 2023 European Food Safety Authority study warned that daily use of even a teaspoon of cassia cinnamon can push older adults over the safe limit for coumarin, but the labels almost never say which kind you're buying.
Wait, so all this time my heart-healthy cinnamon oatmeal might have been slowly stressing my liver? I always just grabbed whatever was on sale.
That's exactly the hidden danger, Susan. And here's the twist. Ceylon cinnamon, which is safer, is often more expensive and rarely sold in big supermarkets.
And we're supposed to be eating healthy on a budget. What about turmeric? Everyone I know takes turmeric capsules or adds it to their soup for inflammation.
Turmeric is even more complicated. The root itself can be helpful, but several studies, including a 2022 report from Johns Hopkins, found that many turmeric powders and capsules are contaminated with industrial dyes or even lead, especially those imported from India and Bangladesh. This contamination is so widespread that in late 2023, the FDA issued recalls for 28 brands after finding lead levels 3 to 4 times the safe threshold for adults. For seniors who already have slower kidney function, that extra lead sticks around longer, fueling low-level inflammation and increasing the risk of heart disease.
That just blows my mind. I was giving turmeric to my husband after his knee surgery, thinking I was helping him heal. But he actually complained his stomach felt worse after a few weeks, and we never made the connection.
You're not alone. A surprising number of seniors have vague stomach pain, headaches, or fatigue and never suspect their spices. But there's good news. There are ways to spot safer spices and brands, and even a simple home test you can do tonight.
We'll get to that kitchen test in a minute, I promise, because I want to try it myself. But let's talk about pepper. Black pepper is everywhere. Is that a risk too?
Pepper's another tricky one. Black pepper can be contaminated with mold toxins if it's stored or shipped in humid conditions. A University of Chicago study from 2023 found that up to 22% of black pepper samples from big box stores had detectable aflatoxins, mold byproducts that can cause liver inflammation and, over decades, increase cancer risk. And remember, seniors process toxins more slowly, so what's a tiny exposure for a young person becomes a bigger risk over time.
So it's not just about what's on the label. It's about how it's grown, stored, and what sneaks in before it gets to our table.
Exactly. And most companies don't test every batch, especially discount brands. The spices most likely to be contaminated: cheaper turmeric, cassia cinnamon, black pepper, paprika, and chili powder. All are prone to hidden additives, heavy metals, or mold.
I want everyone listening to grab their spice rack before we get to your kitchen test. But first, Dr. Harper, for those who think, oh, I only use a little, is even small daily use really a risk?
The short answer, yes, especially for seniors. A 2024 CDC review found that regular, even tiny daily doses of contaminated spices raised chronic inflammation markers in people over 60, sometimes without obvious symptoms, just increased joint pain, brain fog, or gut trouble.
That's me, honestly. I always thought my aches were just normal aging, but now I'm not so sure. Okay, coming up, Dr. Harper will walk us through his 1-minute kitchen spice safety test and reveal how to spot problem brands before you buy. But first, if you're listening and worried, know this isn't about giving up all spices forever. There are safe ways to flavor your food and protect your health. Dr. Harper, is there hope for flavor lovers?
There is, but you need to know what to look for, and that's what we'll dig into right after this.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're digging into the real story behind your kitchen spices and why so many of them are quietly causing inflammation and health trouble for seniors. Dr. Harper, you promised a kitchen test, and I have to admit I'm nervous to try it. I just grabbed my spice rack during the break. What's the 1-minute safety test every senior needs to do tonight?
I love that, Susan. Here's how you do it, and you don't need a lab or any fancy gear. First, grab every spice you use regularly. Check the label for these 5 things. Country of origin. Is it listed? If it just says packed in USA, but doesn't say grown in blank, be cautious. Brand reputation. Is it a major, established company? Discount brands and bulk store refills are most often flagged for contaminants. Organic certification. Look for a certified organic seal. It's not perfect, but it means stricter testing for heavy metals and pesticides. Color and texture. Does the spice look unnaturally bright or uniform? Overly vivid colors can mean added dyes. An example, turmeric that's neon yellow is suspicious. Pepper that looks like dust may have fillers. Expiration date. Old spices are more likely to harbor mold toxins and lose potency. If any spice fails more than one check, set it aside. It's not a guarantee there's a problem, but it raises the odds. And Susan, you'd be surprised how many brands don't make the cut.
Dr. Harper, I'm looking at my turmeric right now. It says product of India, packed in New Jersey. No organic seal, and the color is really bright. I've probably had it 2 years. Should I toss it?
Honestly, I would. Turmeric is the most frequently recalled spice for both lead and dyes, and 2 years is beyond the recommended shelf life, especially for ground spices. A 2022 FDA study found that 39% of turmeric from major U.S. supermarkets tested positive for either lead or Sudan dye, especially in non-organic brands and those with no clear origin.
That's hard to hear, but I'd rather be safe. You mentioned earlier that even small daily amounts can add up. I think a lot of us just assume it's only a sprinkle. But those sprinkles can really stack up, can't they?
Absolutely. Seniors process toxins more slowly, so what's low risk for a 30-year-old can become dangerous over years for someone over 60. Another thing, a lot of spice blends like curry powder, chili powder, or even pumpkin pie spice are more likely to have hidden fillers, sugars, or anti-caking chemicals not always listed on the label. A 2023 Consumer Reports investigation found that 1 in 4 spice blends from dollar stores and deep discounters contained at least one flagged contaminant, lead, cadmium, or illegal dyes.
That's scary. I know so many seniors, myself included, who buy those value packs to save money. What about pepper? You said that even pepper can hide trouble.
Yes, black pepper is especially tricky. A recent 2023 study by University of Illinois found that nearly 20% of imported black pepper contained traces of aflatoxin, a mold toxin linked to liver inflammation and higher cancer risk in older adults. And here's the hidden truth. Mold toxins don't taste or smell off. So, if you have pepper that's been sitting open for years, it's time to refresh.
That's me again. I've had the same giant can of pepper for years, always thinking I was being thrifty.
You're not alone. So many seniors want to make things last, especially on a fixed income. But for health's sake, it's better to buy smaller amounts from trusted brands, even if it feels more expensive up front.
That makes me think of my neighbor, Joe. He's 74 and loves spicy food, but last year he started getting these mystery headaches and stomach pains. Turns out his favorite chili powder, bought in bulk from a discount bin, was on the recall list for lead contamination. After he threw it out and switched to a name brand, his headaches faded. His doctor never would have guessed, but it made all the difference.
That's a perfect example, Susan. Sometimes the fix is as simple as cleaning out the spice rack and starting fresh with safe options.
So for everyone listening, go check your labels, look for country of origin, organic seals, and don't be afraid to let old spices go. Dr. Harper, what about those who love bold flavors? If you want to cook with lots of spice, what are the best alternatives? How do we stay safe and enjoy our food?
Great question. Here's what I tell my patients. Stick to certified organic spices from established brands. Look for companies that publish third-party testing results. Some do, and it's worth paying a little extra. Also, consider using fresh herbs, parsley, cilantro, basil, from the produce section or your own windowsill. Fresh herbs have much lower risk of contamination and add amazing flavor. And if you love turmeric or cinnamon, try to find true Ceylon cinnamon and organic turmeric from brands that test for heavy metals. A 2023 Harvard study found Ceylon cinnamon had less than 1% of the coumarin found in cassia cinnamon, and organic turmeric from US or European brands tested clean in 95% of cases.
That's a relief. So it's not about giving up flavor, it's just being a little smarter and choosier.
Exactly. And remember, fresh is best. Even things like lemon zest, ginger root, or fresh garlic can bring flavor and health benefits with lower risk.
Dr. Harper, for seniors who feel overwhelmed by all this, is there one change they can make today that would have the biggest impact?
Absolutely. If you do nothing else, swap out any turmeric or cinnamon that doesn't list the exact type, Ceylon versus cassia or organic origin, and replace any spice older than 1 year. That alone dramatically cuts your risk of hidden toxins and inflammation.
Coming up, Dr. Harper is going to share the single biggest mistake people make with healthy spice blends and why so many supplements aren't as safe as you think. But first, I want to talk about the doctor doesn't listen problem. A lot of us try to bring up fatigue or joint pain, and our doctors just shrug it off. Dr. Harper, how do we get our doctors to take this seriously or at least consider our food as a possible culprit?
This is so important. Doctors are busy and often overlook dietary causes. When you notice new symptoms, keep a short food and spice diary for a week. Note when symptoms get worse. Bring the actual spice jars or a photo of them to your next appointment. Say, I read new research on spice contamination in seniors. Could this be worth testing for? If your doctor isn't familiar, ask if you can have a simple blood test for lead, cadmium, or inflammatory markers. Sometimes a nudge is all it takes.
That's so empowering, Dr. Harper. I've always felt a little silly bringing up food issues, but knowing there's real science behind it makes all the difference.
You're your own best advocate. Doctors want to help, but you know your body best.
Next, Dr. Harper is going to reveal the biggest trap with healthy spice supplements and the simple swaps that can actually help lower your inflammation, not raise it. So don't go anywhere. Your kitchen could be the start of your healthiest chapter yet. We're back, and I hope you're starting to feel a little more confident about what's really in your kitchen. Dr. Harper, right before the break, you mentioned healthy spice supplements. A lot of us, myself included, have jumped on the bandwagon with turmeric capsules, cinnamon pills, and even black pepper extracts. Are these really any safer, or are we falling into another trap?
It's a smart question, Susan, and I see this all the time. People want the benefits of spices, but in a quick, easy pill. Here's the surprising truth. Many spice supplements are even less regulated than the spices on your grocery shelf. The FDA doesn't review most supplements for purity or potency before they hit the market. A 2023 study in the Journal of the American Medical Association tested 50 popular turmeric supplements sold online and in stores. Nearly half contained either less turmeric than claimed or detectable levels of lead, cadmium, or industrial colorants. Worse, some products had fillers like rice powder or sawdust, completely unlisted.
Sawdust? That's terrifying. My neighbor swears by her cinnamon capsules. She says they keep her blood sugar down. But she's also been complaining about feeling queasy and tired lately.
That could very well be related, especially if the supplement isn't pure. Another hidden danger. Many of these pills use the cheaper, higher coumarin Ceylon cinnamon, which can stress the liver and interact with medications.
That's probably true for a lot of us, thinking we're doing the right thing, but not really knowing what's inside the bottle. Is there any way to know if a supplement is safe?
There are a few steps you can take. Look for third-party certifications like USP or NSF on the label. These mean the product's been tested for purity and contaminants. Check for clear sourcing. If the company hides its supply chain, that's a red flag. Avoid supplements that don't list their full ingredients or that make over-the-top health claims. But honestly, for most people, it's safer to get flavor and nutrients from real, whole foods and fresh, verified spices, not pills.
That makes so much sense. Coming up, Dr. Harper's simple homemade spice blend recipe, one that's delicious, safe, and fights inflammation without the hidden dangers. But first, let's talk hope. Some listeners might feel overwhelmed right now, thinking, I can't trust anything. Dr. Harper, can making these changes really help us feel better, or is the damage done?
That's a question I hear from so many patients. The answer is absolutely, it can help, and often faster than you'd expect. A 2023 pilot study from Stanford University looked at seniors who swapped out their old contaminated spices for certified organic single-source alternatives. Within 2 months, 68% reported less joint pain, better energy, and improved digestion. Your body wants to heal. Remove the triggers, and it often does.
That's inspiring. I remember last winter, my hands were so stiff I could barely open jars. After I threw out some old, musty spices and switched to fresh organic ones, I did notice a difference. Maybe it wasn't just the weather after all.
Exactly, Susan. It's those small daily choices that add up over time. No need for perfection, just a little more awareness, a little less risk.
So for everyone listening, don't feel you have to overhaul your kitchen overnight. Start with 1 or 2 changes. Replace your turmeric, try a fresh herb, check your pepper jar. Dr. Harper, you promised us a safe, easy homemade blend for people who want flavor without fear. What's your go-to?
Absolutely. Here's my personal favorite senior safe blend. 2 parts dried oregano, organic, US or Europe sourced, 1 part dried basil, 1 part garlic powder, not salt, half part crushed red pepper, if you like a little kick, and 1 part lemon zest, fresh if possible. Mix these together and keep in an airtight jar. None of these are prone to heavy metal or dye contamination when sourced from a reputable brand. Sprinkle it on chicken, vegetables, pasta, or soup for flavor and anti-inflammatory power.
I love that. It feels like something anyone can do, even on a budget.
Absolutely. And for bonus points, grow your own herbs. Even a pot on the windowsill makes a difference.
Okay, I'm trying that tomorrow. Now, before we wrap up, what's your one piece of advice for seniors who want to keep enjoying their favorite foods but stay safe?
Be curious. Ask questions. If something smells off, looks too bright, or comes from a source you don't trust, don't use it. And don't be afraid to speak up to your doctor or grocer. Your health is worth it.
That's so powerful. You know, today's episode started with a little fear, but it's ending with hope. A safer kitchen is within reach. 1 label, 1 swap, 1 meal at a time. If you learned something today, share this episode with a friend or loved one. You never know whose life you might help change. And if you have questions, send them in. We love hearing from you.
And remember, next week we're tackling another hidden health risk. The silent signs of bone loss every senior needs to know, and what you can do right now to protect yourself.
That's right. So clean out that spice rack, trust your taste buds, and keep tuning in for more real solutions. I'm Susan Miller with Dr. David Harper, wishing you health, hope, and great meals ahead.